And here at this point, you should filter out. You have a list of 200 people, 200 prospect supervisors, but you can't talk to them all at once because you don't have that much time, because you can't write 200 different proposals, suiting and matching their style of their preferred style. You can't deposit $200, $100 for each university for application fee, for example. You can't write 200 different proposals in accordance with their requirements. You can't ask the IELTS organization to send 200 scores for different universities. Then you should select a handful of people, a handful of universities, a handful of countries, okay? You should filter out. But based on what? Based on your preferences on the one side of the scale, okay? Here is a scale. Here there is a scale, okay? You should weigh your preferences and whatever you have, your preferences and your CV. And your CV must outweigh. Your CV must be better than what you wish. Do you know why? If it doesn't outweigh, your CV is lighter, you will lose the game. Because there is a heavy competition here. Because a large number of people from different universities are competing for that single chair, single position at that university. And this is why you should try your best. You should figure out where you outweigh, okay? Your preferences, for example, and your merits. On the one side, your preferences, and on the other side, your merits. If I were you, and if I didn't decide, or better to say, I haven't decided so far, first of all, I should choose the best country. Based on what? Based on what I'm gonna select the best country? Okay, let me tell you, based on what you're gonna select the best country. If I were you, I would consider all of them. But some might weigh more than the other. For example, the country's GDP, the country's freedom index, and indexes like this. Do you know why? It is not very important because you're not gonna work there. Because you're just gonna study there. Freedom index doesn't matter. GDP doesn't matter. But it matters actually. Because you will live there at least 3 or 4 years. And this might be the starting point for your whole life. You might be their citizen in future. You might become their citizen in future. You might get that country's passport. You might invest your money there. You might establish a company there. Because of all these, it's very important to know. You are a student, right? You are a student. And you will go there and you will come back to your home country, okay? But what if you don't come back? But what if you invest your money there? Does it matter? Yes, it matters. Actually, it matters. Freedom index, GDP, and the like. You should know their economic stability. If the country's economy is not stable enough, you should be careful, especially if you want to invest there, especially if you want to buy a home, buy a car there, especially if you want to sell your properties in your home country and take the money to their country. It is very important to know. and mental stability of politicians. Because if that country's, the target country's political officials, politicians, do not have a good agreement with your own, this means that you will suffer from a large number of problems. For example, if they don't agree, if they can't deal, they might put hurdles even when you want to open a bank account. You might suffer from a large number of problems. Okay? This will happen to you. But that time is very late to decide. So you should know the politicians, the people who are coming to power at that specific country. Work permit is the other important criterion. If you are not allowed to work there, it will be a problem. If as a student you can't work there, it will be a problem. If you can't manage to make ends meet, you have to work. And if you can't work, and if you don't have a work permit, how can you work? And if you can't work, how can you make money and make the ends meet? Okay? This is very important. Especially after graduation. For example, if you went there, if you spend your 4 years, if you graduate, you have to go somewhere else and start from the scratch. This will bother you, okay? Residence permit after graduation. During the studying years, you will have a residence permit. There is no problem then. But after graduation, whether they will give you a residence permit or not, it matters here, okay? Job opportunities. You should know whether I can find a job after graduation or not. You should know whether I can find a good and well-paying job after graduation or not in my own specialty actually. Okay? Because you are gonna go there. Because you are deciding to go there. But this doesn't mean that you will come back. This doesn't mean that you will certainly come back. Okay? And what if you don't want to come back? What if you don't want to leave that country? And what if you can't find a job? You have to go out there. Okay? Look at this. Less politicized countries. For example, I prefer Japan and Finland. Do you know why? Because politicians there do their own jobs and don't put their countries into trouble. Push their countries into trouble. Don't fight with other politicians. They do their own job. They decide the best for their people, for example, and they are not involved in any war around the world. So, if you want to go there and if you want to invest there, you will have a safe investment. For example, I said, you can decide whether to go to that country or some other countries. This is on you, but I just said you an example. And you should know the income ranking based on your own discipline and different disciplines. For example, if you are a plumber, the United States is one of the best countries for you because plumbing is one of the best paying jobs in the United States, among the 100 best paying jobs. But if you are a professor, I recommend you go to Canada. Do you know why? Because Canada is paying the professors highest amount of salary in the world. If you work as a professor in the United States of America, you will earn less money than when you work in Canada. Okay? If you are a professor like me, if you are going to teach at universities, go to Canada. But you should know that if you are a software engineer and if you are in the United States of America, you will earn the highest amount of money in the world. This is the best choice for you whether you go to the United States. And you should know this. And the last one, but this is my list. You can have some other lists, some other criteria. Okay? This is my list. You should know whether they will give you a passport or not. For example, if you reside there for 10 years, if you want to stay there for 10 years and you stay there for 10 years, will they give you a passport? Will you be a citizen there? Can you vote there? Can you be a parliament member? Can you be a president there or not? Okay? If you are not a citizen, then you are a foreigner for all your life. Okay? You should know this. This is with regard to country. You should check one by one. And if you have something, you can add to this list.